What is cooking new track trainee? Welcome to another episode, the CSR DNA podcast, where we talked about your emotions, how you can control them, and how they can help you out to improve your performance within the industry of call center. I am Nestor A, your co-host, and we're starting right now with episode number 2, where we are going to be talking about can emotional intelligence be trained? Once again, let me repeat the question. Can emotional intelligence be trained? And to tell the truth, it is possible. And we're starting right now with today's topic, episode number 2. Can emotional intelligence be trained?
The CSR DNA Podcast. Welcome to the CSR DNA Podcast for inner growth and better job opportunities. This podcast looks to level up your professionalism, improve your performance for you to have the chance of getting higher and keep your job as long as you would like to within the call center industry. I believe that knowing your CSR DNA is a way to truly crack the code within us to be successful in this career. The CSR DNA podcast will attempt to educate and guide you through your professional journey by taking your career to the next level. I wish someone had told me this little secret before, but in real life, in real world, hard skills are not enough to succeed in the professional field. You need more than that. You'll need soft skills. And my idea is to provide you with some hints that hopefully they'll push you forward climbing the ladder of success. I'm your host, Nestor A, founder of NESTINGACC, Agents for Call Center, and welcome to the CSR DNA Podcast. Let's dive into it.
We need to keep in mind that emotional intelligence is not linked to your attitude. It's not linked to the ability of learning new language, for example, if you want to learn languages like English, Spanish, German. So it's not linked to those related topic, or it's not linked to playing any kind of instrument, drums, flute, any of them. You can name them, right? But emotional intelligence, it is linked on how you recognize your feelings. It is linked to how you can control them and the importance of them in order for you to be ready for that position in the industry of call center. Now, let me go ahead and tell you the following. A supervisor, an OM operation manager, or any other person in a higher position in the industry of call center rather than just customer service representative, they know how important is acquire the proper skills, right? Like how to talk to customers or how the system is actually operated when you are handling a CRM, customer representative management. And but they know it's mostly important how you can develop and how you can handle your own emotion, right? That's the most important part and for them, right? Because if they want to succeed, or if you as a customer service representative in the position, or you that you're still looking for that opportunity for you to get yourself high-end industry call center, you need to also learn how to develop, how to handle, how you can go ahead and control your emotions. Alrighty, and that's the main reason of this podcast, right? So, can emotional intelligence be trained? If you would like to work in the industry of call center, you need to consider training your emotional intelligence, since it is important for good communication. The communication that you may have with the customer, the communication that you may have with a representative, with another advocate, with your supervisor, with the OM, with any person within the industry, in and out, you need to have good communication, right? And by having a good communication, it leads you to have a better learning when you are being trained within the industry, to have better friends, to actually take advantage of the friendships that you may acquire there, you may get there. And the most important factor that you need to consider in order for you to grow within this industry is the success at what you are going to be doing, your performance, either taking those calls, either chatting with people, or pretty much writing down that email that you need to send out for that customer in need, right? So when it comes to emotional intelligence, there are 5 main areas that we need to cover, that we need to consider, that we need to think about. Number 1 is self-awareness. Self-awareness, pretty much, it's to know what is going on with you when you are mad. What is going on with your body when you feel mad? What is going on with your body when you feel sad, or when you feel happy? What is going on? What is that signal your body is sending to you when at every single stage that you might feel when you are currently feeling this kind of emotions, right? That's number 1 thing. It's the self-awareness of you, the self-awareness. How do you see yourself? And how, number 2, which is the main, another idea, or another main area that you need to consider in when it comes to emotional intelligence, is emotions control. If you're happy, how you control your happiness. If you're sad, how you control your sadness. If you are frustrated, how you can control your frustration. So those are 2 out of the 5. Number 1 is self-awareness. Number 2, emotion control. Number 3 is very important as well. What's your main motivation? Remember that when you work in the industry of call center, there is a motivation. There is something that you would like to accomplish in your life. There is something that you want to go ahead and finish and achieve for your own wellness, right? So what's your motivation? So by keeping in mind your self-emotions or your self-awareness, emotion control, your control of your emotions, and motivation will help you out to improve your emotional intelligence. Now, when it comes to one of the skills that it will help you out also to understand other is number 4, which is empathy, right? Empathy, it's pretty much something that you need to develop within this career, which is putting yourself in customers' shoes. What does it mean? It means that try to figure it out, or try to think about, or try to picture, how would you feel in the position of a certain person that you are meeting, in the position of a friend, in the position of a peer, in the position of that supervisor, or that OM, what would be your perspective of the things that you are actually experiencing, right? That will be the empathy part, which is number 4. And number 5 will help you out as well with relationship skills. But you having a really good emotional intelligence by knowing what your emotions are, controlling them, what's your motivation, what is empathy, or how you can be how you can develop this empathy stage and to show the others that you actually care, you will improve as well your relationship. So these are pretty much the 5 main areas that emotional intelligence covers, right? Now, it turns out that day to day at work, you will experience different kind of emotions, right? And something that is very important is that how you experience this emotion will be different from how your peers, how the people that work with you, the people that work next to you, the people that work day to day experience their own emotions. Keep in mind that one thing for you, it might be considered not good because of your background, because of what you have listened, because of what you have read, or because your own experience. But for other people, they might not think the same, right? For example, let me go ahead and give you some of the examples that you will hear in the industry of call center and the different emotions that you can go ahead and feel, right? Or receive or pretty much perceive when you are within the call center industry or any other call center or any other industry, right? So we have the first example, like this kind of statement where somebody says, you have done such a piece of work, pretty much that you have done such a good job. So that will be considered a satisfaction emotion, that you feel pretty satisfied with the things that you have been doing within the position that you are working for, right? Or maybe when you are just getting yourself higher in the industry of call center and pretty much passing every single stage in the recruitment process, and suddenly the supervisor, the OM, the language specialist tells you you have done such a piece of work, so you feel satisfied with the performance that you're doing. Now, another example that you might experience within the industry of call center is anxiety, right? And what does it mean? Or what has to do with the call center? Sometimes anxiety, it's by it's when you have this kind of difficulties, right? And meeting important deadline. There's a deadline, and maybe you don't know how to actually run the project or how to start the project, and you will feel immediately with this sensation of anxiety, right? Because you don't know where to start, and that might happen. And that might happen because maybe you don't have the proper training, or maybe you overthink too much about the things, right? Or you are just thinking about what is going to happen in the future. So this is another example, right? Anxiety. Now, what would happen when you feel worried, right? When somebody tells you you need to give a presentation to a large group of people. So you need to be on stage delivering a presentation. You will need to talk for about, let's say, 20 minutes, 80-minute presentation. So you will feel like, oh my God, what am I gonna be saying, right? You will feel a little bit worried. And that is gonna be depending from your own perspective. Some people might feel like giving a presentation to a large group of people will be like a satisfaction for them, will be something that will actually enjoy, right? So that's the reason why it's very important that how you experience your emotions will be different from your peers, will be different from the supervisor, the OM. It will be different from the people around you. So um, the thing is that your emotions will act based on how you have experienced in the past, right? Now, so let's say that you work for sales in the sales campaign, right, in a sales department, and you have been able to close many contacts, or in this case, you have been able to close many sales, many contracts. So, how would you feel about it? You will feel happy, right? You will feel super excited, super happy because you are making such a way of proving to yourself that you actually are worth it for the company or for the campaign itself, and you are making big money for you, right? Which is additionally good. Or sometimes you might feel surprised when someone that maybe you did not expect, like your supervisor, remember your birthday, and maybe your supervisor hasn't talked to you in a while or never in your life, and suddenly he says to you, hey, congratulations, happy birthday to you. So you will feel a little bit surprised. So these are the different kind of emotions that we can actually experience within the call center industry: satisfaction, anxiety, worry, happiness, or surprise, right? Or the one that we normally experience whenever we do a lot of work, we have done such a great effort on doing something, but it's not being appreciated. And how do we feel? Do we feel very, very dissatisfied or anger, right? We feel anger about that. So emotional intelligence can be practiced and developed, right, through learning. But there are five main things, right, that I want to share with you today. These are pretty much statements that we need to practice and say to ourselves every single day if we really want to learn how to train and control our emotions, right? Statement number one. Statement number one have to do with I am responsible for my own feeling. Let me repeat it one more time. I am responsible for my own feeling. Remember that I talked to you about your peers might experience emotions in a different way from you? The same happened in this situation. You are the only responsible for your feeling, how you're going to be actually channel that feeling that you might be experiencing at that moment. Statement number two, I am responsible for my own behavior. It turns out when we have such a feeling, we might behave differently. We might behave differently when we are happy. We might be behaving differently if we are sad or if we are angry, right? It might change depending on what is the emotion that we are actually feeling at that moment. Our behavior as well will change. So I am responsible for my own feeling. I am responsible for my own behavior. Number three, I always have a choice, right? I always have a choice on how to respond to situations, to events, even to people. Alrighty? Number three, I always have a choice on how I respond to situations, events, or even to people. And number four, no one, no one can make upset, angry, or happy, right? No one can make me upset, angry, or happy. So, by you actually practicing these statements will help you out to have a better idea on how to control your emotion. And statement number five is that you can practice this this all exercise and learn new effective behavior, right? So once we have covered these five statements, you need to tell to yourself that we have the opportunity to train, learn, and develop our emotional intelligence. So how are we going to be doing this? This is going to be interesting, right? The way that we need to do it. Number one, we need to, depending on the emotion that we are feeling, we need to scan our body. We need to try to look for that signal your body is gonna send to you. For example, if you feel sad, what will be the signal in your body? What will be the reaction in your body? How will be the face in your body? If you are angry, what would be your reaction? What would be the way that you move your body? What would be that sensation that you might feel in your body? It could be the heart rate beating up a little bit higher. It could be that you maybe are out of breath because of the emotion that you are feeling at that time, at that moment. So that is the first part, right? Trying to scan what is going on with your body. Number two, ask yourself, what are you feeling? It is true that there are certain emotions that may be like the owner of your body, but besides those emotions you might experience confusion or you might experience other emotions. For example, when you are sad, you could be as well frustrated or you could be as well irritated. So there are some situations and scenarios or events that might produce different kind of feelings, and sometimes that is going to be even harder for you to channel that energy. So it's very important to actually determine what will be that energy, that feeling that you're feeling. Because one thing, one situation, one particular activity, one event, something that somebody have said, one single thing, it might lead you to a different kind of emotions. So it will be easier for you just to focus on one of them and maximize your effort and understand that and trying to deal with it, right? So that would be point number three. That would be focus only on one of them and try to intensify it, meaning that try to try to make clear that you understand what is actually the emotion you are feeling, because that's lead us to point number four. You can be optimistic once you find actually what the problem is, or what's the right the emotion that you're trying to figure it out with the feelings that you are having at the time of that scenario, of that situation. You can be more optimistic, you can be more realistic, right? And use that feeling to clarify the problem. Use that feeling to help you and enable you to be more creative, to create more options to find solutions, right? So what is that what make you feel in this position or at this emotion that you need to learn so you can strengthen, or you can get some kind of help in order for you to change that emotion you're feeling. And you need to keep in mind that sometimes the emotions that we handle maybe are factual, which is based on true, or it's just simple relationship issue, which is based on our relationship, right? Factual is something that we cannot change because it's a fact, it's something that is true. But the relationship issue, it might be a misunderstanding between you and the other person, the one that you are maybe are having difficulty with to understanding what is going on between you and the other person. And always you need to consider as well your point of view. You need to consider your emotions. You need to consider what you think as just important as somebody else. Because remember that when you control your emotions, you're not going to be based on, yes, I'm always right. It's not about that. It's about to understand the other people as well. They have the right to feel what they feel. And if that person can control his or her emotions, it will be great for her to give you the opportunity to tell him, her, how you actually feel, right? So this is the idea. The idea is that you can create most valuable situation for everyone, for you and for the rest of people that work with you, the rest of people that spend time with you at your workplace. So emotional intelligence can be practiced. And the good thing about this is that you can practice emotional intelligence anywhere. And as you may see, or as you might heard, you don't need any special equipment, right, to develop your emotional intelligence, to develop your inner growth, right? It just takes time and the desire to control your emotions. Thank you very much for tuning in with us today. And if you have liked what we do, it would be great to see your comments, considerations, subscribing if you have liked this kind of episode. And please let me know in the comments down below how you have been feeling through this podcast when it comes to emotional intelligence. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and see you next time.